This week on Foods with Flavor, we're making pasta salad. If you like fresh ingredients, you're going to love this week's recipe. We're making a Greek pasta salad. I'd like to thank my neighbor for letting me go into his yard and pick all of his tomatoes. So hold on and I'll show you how to make it. Alright, so I'm going to roast this clove of garlic. Make sure your knife's sharper than mine. I actually sharpened it after this. So you're going to cut that top off, and then you can just simply place the garlic in like a piece of tin foil. Nothing fancy. I use a toaster oven. Pour some olive oil, heat it up to 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. Once it's done, it's roasted. It's a much sweeter flavor, and if you pinch the bottom, the cloves of garlic will just pop out. So much less intense flavor. I use this whole clove of garlic, but not as much. So now we're going to roast some red peppers. I've kind of de-seeded them, cut them in half. I actually cut them into quarters. Once I've roasted them for about 20 minutes on broil, I'm wrapping them in a paper towel to steam and help loosen that skin. So once you've done that for about 5 or 10 minutes, the skin will just peel off. Sometimes at the ends, if it's not charred enough, it does stick a little bit. So it can be a little bit hard to get off, but it's pretty easy. If you want to use canned ones, you can do that. That's fine. So, you know, it's the time of year I've got tons of vegetables. So this is just a Greek olive medley. You can use any sort of olives you want. Here I've chopped that roasted garlic up, and I'm going to be making my sauce. So I'm adding some olive oil, and then I'm going to be adding some balsamic vinegar. And then to that, I'm going to be adding some salt and some pepper. And I just let that sit for a little bit. Then I added some sugar and some fresh oregano, about a quarter cup of fresh oregano. And then I mixed that, and I just set that aside until I was ready to use it. So I don't put the oregano in at this point and sugar, so I did that a little bit later. And you'll be adding more salt and pepper as you go. So I've stirred this up, and so that's the sauce, and we're going to set that aside. So I've got some tomatoes, and I cut them in half. You don't have to cut them in half, but I cut them in half. This is a Gino salami that I've cubed. And here's all the ingredients. So I have the pasta, fresh spinach, the tomatoes, the olives, the salami. My table's a little bit wiggly. Now I'm putting in the roasted red peppers. And then I'm just slowly mixing that up. And then now I'm adding the basil. And once I've got the basil in there, I'm going to also add that sauce. And as you're mixing this, there's not actually enough salt and pepper at this point. So you're going to, as you turn it over and over, you're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper as you go. And it's really to taste, so you just need to try it as you go. The greens will break down after about 45 minutes. So it's very vibrant right now. It will start to darken in color as you go. But yeah, it takes up a little bit more room. So the last ingredient that I add is a tomato basil feta cheese. You could just use a regular feta cheese. Doesn't matter. So I've mixed that, incorporated it, and this is what it looks like when it's done. Remember, it gets a little bit darker as the greens wilt. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me on social media, and click on the link below to see a recommended video.